And this is the Coins, Cashflow, and Competition Podcast. I am your host, Dakota Grady, sponsored by Upstate Essential Solutions. Contact me today if you need help with accounting and taxes for your business, or if you need help with personal finances. Contact me at dakotagrady.com. Hello, y'all. Welcome to the podcast. Today, we're talking about buying a car versus leasing a car. That's right, y'all. I recently bought a car, actually a van for my family, because my car needed a transmission. It needs a transmission, to say. So trying to figure out whether I should repair it, sell it, or just, I don't know, one of the two. But let's dive right into it. So why should you lease a car? Like, what is leasing? Why is it important if you want to know about leasing? And should you lease a car? All right. So leasing is basically when you are getting a car from a dealer and you're paying payment in exchange for the car for like 2 to 4 months, right? And you're basically paying them money for that. It's like you're renting a car, because at the end of the lease payment, you can either buy the vehicle, pay it in, or just say, or walk away and say, I'm not going to lease it again, right? So that payment includes, of course, depreciation, some kind of profit, at least I'm sure. And then you get a payment every month, probably a high interest rate, more likely if you got bad credit. And you have some restrictions as well. For example, you may only be able to go over a certain amount of miles, go a certain amount of miles. If you go over a certain amount of miles, so you got a 4-year lease and you're able to only go, say, 20,000 miles for that particular period. If you go over that amount of miles, you are penalized by paying more, right? Also, you may pay more for additional wear and tear on the car. It's excessive wear and tear on the car that could be an issue why you could pay more. Also, getting out of the lease could be something that you could pay more too. If you want to terminate your lease early, it could be a penalty. So those are things why you shouldn't lease a vehicle, because all those things can add up and can be more expensive than buying a car outright with cash. Also, you got to pay for maintenance, right? Insurance and gas, in addition to your monthly payment. And then when at the end of the lease, you don't own it. That is not a good deal. Who wins? The car company. Who loses? You do. So that's why it's better, in my opinion, to buy a car outright. Because when you buy the car outright, you own it. That's simple, y'all. It's that simple. So some people may say, well, I want to get a car every 2 or 3 years so that I can have something new or something that's reliable, right? I understand that. It makes perfect sense. But think about all of those expenses that can add up. Say you want to go out of town, you're traveling for business frequently, and you say half with your lease. Say you got a 4-year lease, and half with your lease, you're running a lot of miles. Third year comes around, and you top out of your mileage. So you're going to pay more if you continue to drive the car, drive the vehicle. And if you say, all right, I want to opt out of my lease, you're going to pay more for that too. So you have an option: either stop driving the car, turn it in, and pay more for getting out of the lease, or your other option would be to keep driving it and pay more in mileage. So you're stuck both ways. That's not a good deal, in my opinion. Oh, and by the way, when you finish with the car, turn it in, and then the dealer flips the car again and sells it or leases it to someone else. So they're continually making money on a vehicle that is going down in value, and they're going to make a profit off that vehicle. They're not going to lose money on the vehicle. If they were going to lose money on the vehicle, they wouldn't do the deal. But they want to do the deal because they're going to make money off of you, and it's going to be a penalty. Again, early termination, it's up to the wear on the car. And then if you can afford the car, I don't know if there may be some kind of clause, but what if you can't afford to pay the payment? Is there something in the clause that says if you can't pay the payment and you get penalized for that too. Ooh, so it's all these caveats and things that are gotchas, kind of say, in a lease. Now let's talk about owning the car, buying a car outright with cash, right? I've never had a car payment, y'all, in my life. And I don't ever plan to have one. I buy cars that are used, relatively used, older cars. And I've had two cars. My best car, I'm not getting paid for this, but the best car I've had was a 1996. That's right, I said again, 1996 Honda Civic. That thing took me from a lot of miles, different states, from South Carolina to Oklahoma, Oklahoma, Tennessee, Tennessee, South Carolina, and back. That was my best car, hands down. So now I am a loyal Honda driver, customer. Again, I'm not getting paid for this. I wish it was, but that car was the best car. And I paid cash for it. I paid maybe $1,000 for the car because it was an older car. And I bought it maybe 2011, I believe. And that guy had a car for at least 6 years, maybe. It was a long time. That car had over 300,000 miles on it. Really, like literally. That was my best car, hands down. Again, paid cash for it, and it really never gave me any issues either. Maintained it as much as I could. It was older, but that thing was a beast when it came to driving. So I had no car payment. Of course, I had to pay for gas, maintenance, and insurance, but that was the things you're going to pay for anyway. But I didn't have a car payment, right? And it was my car. I owned it. I had the title for the car. I owned the vehicle. I paid cash money for it. And again, I didn't have a payment. So the value of the car was already depreciated because someone else owned the car before I owned it. Actually, it was a hand-me-down car. My brother, one of my brothers, I have 5 brothers. One of them bought it from, I guess, a friend of his. He sold it to one of my younger brothers, and I bought it from my younger brother. So the car was already depreciated in value. It has gone down. It was an older car. So that thing was really, really valuable in my opinion. Even though someone else wouldn't have given me a whole lot of money for it, which it did, because when I sold the car with over 300,000 miles on it, I got maybe $500 for the car. And not a whole lot of money, but the whole point is it gave me value when I had it. I paid cash for it, and I sold it, and I got cash back. It wasn't equivalent to what I bought it for, but the whole point is I got value out of the car. It had already been basically used extensively, but I didn't have a payment, and I kept the car. I owned the vehicle instead of giving it back to a leasing company or a dealer who was going to lease it out again and make money on hand over fist. People who don't understand leasing, or people who may understand it, but they still want to use that sophisticated way of buying a car. And you're not really buying a car, you're just paying payments on it. It's like going to Enterprise or Avis, a budget, renting a car, driving it 2 to 4 years, bringing it back. Hopefully you haven't driven over the mileage, you haven't, of course, gotten out of your lease, or had excessive wear and tear on the vehicle, right? So those are things that I believe are hindrances, in my opinion, for me to lease a car. I prefer paying cash for cars and everything else as well. Because when you pay cash for a vehicle, it makes you relaxed. Because although it may be a used vehicle, you got to do repairs and maintenance on it. Whether it's a new car or a used car, you're going to have to pay money for repairs. It's a vehicle. It's going to tear up eventually. But you don't have to have that payment and the restrictions of leasing a vehicle, and you don't own it when you at the end of your lease. So I hope this helps you understand what a lease is, why it's not good for you, and why paying for cars with cash is the best way to live your life and not have that stress, worry of, oh, am I going to have to pay money for the overage and mileage, or am I going to have to pay more money for getting out of my lease if I want to change cars, or am I going to have to pay more for excessive wear on the vehicle? And then I got to pay for car insurance as well, maintenance and gas. Who wins? The dealership wins. Who loses? You, the consumer. So make this decision this month, because this month is still National Financial Literacy Month, to handle your money better in this area of life. I always pay cash for cars if you can. And by the way, I'm doing something new as well. We'll start doing this month, saving money for a new car in addition to saving for my regular expenses. We're going to talk about that next episode of the Coins, Cashflow, Conversations podcast. So if you like the podcast, I want to encourage you to subscribe, share with your family and friends, and just push this podcast, because I want to bring value to people around the world when it comes to money, personal finances, and business, accounting and taxes, y'all. So who am I? Dakota Grady, your host of the Coins, Cashflow, and Conversations podcast. If you need help with personal finances, you can get a book. My book is available online. It's called Broke. That's right, y'all. Broke: Secrets to Fix America's Financial Crisis. Yes, written by me, Dakota Grady. That's right. That's me. Ooh, that cover feels so good. It's the good stuff right there, y'all. Get a copy of the book at dakotagrady.com. And if you need and want a journal, voila, send me an email at dakotagrady.com. I also have a resource for you if you want to learn how to do your quarterly estimated taxes within 5 minutes. If you have a business, send me an email at dakotagrady.com. It's a free resource to help you get your finances in order when it comes to your business. Again, if you want to learn how to create or actually do your quarterly estimates for your business in 5 minutes or less, send me an email at dakotagrady.com. Thank y'all for joining us for the Coins, Cashflow, and Conversations podcast. I am your host, Dakota Grady, sponsored by Upstate Essential Solutions. If you need help with accounting and taxes, I'll say it again. If you need help with accounting and taxes and personal finances, help you with your money and your business, contact me today at dakotagrady.com.